Hello YouTubers, welcome back. It's week 3, the big clay pond dig. What you'll notice some changes from last week. We've got the whole outline shape now dug around about 6 to 8 inches down at all points. So no part has been untouched, so everything now that's clear, that's as big as it's going to get. Okay, so the top layer's gone. It's about 20,000 litres of soil that I've removed, and that makes sense because it's been 3 weeks, and what I've been doing is my wheelbarrow is about 90 litres. I've been doing around about 10 to 12 a day, so I'm thinking I'm moving about 1,000 litres a day. So 21 days, there's my 20,000 litres. It makes sense, but I've done that on the volume calculator and it came out at 20,000, so I think I'm about right. Now, we looked at some stone, some brickwork last week that was laid down, and what you'll see here is I've left it as an example. This is what I've been finding and hitting this week. So those are brick ends, hidden under about 6 inches of topsoil on top of those, dug down that, and then I'm removing all these bricks, and you'll see in a while that my brick pile has got much bigger. So I'm trying to salvage those. As I said last week, I'm going to try and build a kind of fireplace, kiln, patio, warmy, heaty kind of thingy. Can't be more specific than that. Over here last week, which was a sort of potential island, was a tree stump sticking out, if you refer to last week's video, and that took a day to dig out using the pickaxe and a lot of effort. So that's where it was, in that deep hole there. But I think you'll see when I come back here that the profile and the line of the pond now is going to be quite smooth, nicely round there, and head back up that way. So yeah, everything that is on the edges or within the pond parameter has now been dug down. So we've shifted a lot of soil, made some real progress. And what I've got over here, I hope this shows you the progress we're making and the intention. So there's a big lump of concrete removed there, and I'll show you in a second. That's my brick stack, which, I mean, it has got massive compared to last week. Really big. And also there's big lumps of concrete coming out now, so not a massive one there, but that's about 2.5 foot long. I could barely lift it, and so I'm hitting concrete now to add to the joy. So yeah, it's becoming even more difficult. But you see here, I'm going to move back a little bit, scan back a little bit so you can see better. This is an area that I've wanted to sort of dig out, so give you an idea of what's going to happen here. So if you refer this plant back to last week's video, you'll see that that's where my waterfall's going to be. But I've dug out the bottom, sort of 8 feet deep, 10 feet wide area that I'm going to pack with gravel, and that's going to be a sort of cascade gravel that's going to fall into what you'll see here. Is I've begun the deep trench, and what will happen is the waterfall will be the filter. It'll come down here through the gravel, and it'll just drop down here, and this area here that I've sort of demarked with a trench around in a square, this is going to be the area that's 6 foot deep, and it'll be the sort of swim zone, but a really deep area. It's hard to make out, but there's a sort of square you find in there. The top of the picture is where the gravel bed will be, and then the waterfall will do the filtration. It'll drop into this big square. This big square will be a rectangle, so coming back around about 20 feet, which is about here. Sorry, trodden a hole. And that will be the swim zone, and then around the edges it'll be a shallow gradient, maybe 4 feet to 3 feet to 2 feet, with a bit of gravel and some rushes, bulrushes and things like that. But this part here will just be dark black water, and the swim zone. So happy for the fish and happy for the family. But the stuff I've been finding and hitting, you see a big hole here and a deep trench, and that's because I've been hitting all sorts of roots and that concrete, and I've really just wanted to get it shifted and get it gone. There's the trusty shovel that's doing it, and like we spoke about before, there's just no access. I can't, I've got woodland all around, it's very beautiful, tra-la-la, but that single shovel there is my means of digging this pond and shifting all this stuff, because about as much access as I've got, if we walk across here, so this is the sort of my meadow, slightly sort of wetland area in the spring, dries out a little bit and goes very green. If you were going on a bear hunt, I think this is the area you'd be sort of swishy swashying through. They're very long grasses, you'll see. Ooh, very long. But here's a birch tree, or an ex-birch tree, that was chopped down, and you'll see the sort of the level of access or non-access that we've got for anything mechanical or real machinery here. There's a road about 250 feet this way. It's just a B road, but it'd be fine to drop something off there. But as I say, this was a beech tree, sorry, that had a bit of rot that we had to cut down. So you can possibly hear the road getting a little bit louder now. If we come up here, you'll see it was a big beech tree. We've got plenty of firewood, but yeah, about 200 feet that way is a B road. So if I was to cut through, you know, trees, shrubs, bushes, I'm sure we could make access to get something in here. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to destroy a load of lovely nature and forestry and woodland to get a digger in here. And to be honest, the diggers, when you see them digging these ponds, even the small ones, they make a hell of a mess. I mean, you know, my meadow there would be a muddo. What a pun! But it'd be trashed by the mechanical machinery. So I don't want to do that. So I'm happy to do it by hand. And as I said before, you know, 21 days in, 20,000 litres shifted. I'm okay with that. You know, by end of September, when the rains start to come, I should have a dirty great hole here that'll fill with water, fingers crossed. And if that's the case, then fantastic. But you know, if I'm trying to do 10 of my bucket loads here in the wheelbarrow, 10 of those a day, and that's 1,000 litres, so 100 days. And yeah, so 20 days in, I'm at this stage, 20,000 litres of soil removed, starting to get some shape. That'll just be sort of shallow gradient, staging into 3-4 feet. But here, and as a rectangle out, will be a 25 foot by 10 foot swim zone. And this is my waterfall that I showed you before. At the top, I'm going to build a biological filter. And so this week's beer, onto the beer. I need a beer. Christ, it's been a hell of a day. I've gone abroad. No one's going abroad. We're all on lockdown. So I thought, why not? Let's go abroad. And this is a bottle that you might have seen on the shelves in the supermarkets, and I wouldn't blame you if you've looked at it and gone, whoa, and moved away and not looked, not bothered, because it's scary. You can't see into the bottle. It's a clay sort of bottle. It's delirium tremens. Delirium tremens is the Latin name for the condition, which will hospitalise you if you drink too much. You get the DTs, they call them. We all know that. It is delirium tremens. But it's a bit of a pun, it's a bit of a joke, it's a bit of a nod to the fact that don't drink too much of this, because it's 8.5%. It's Belgian beer, and I first tried this in Belgium, in Ghent, or how the locals pronounce it, Hent. And it's a storming beer, and they really know how to do their beers, the Belgians. You've got to hand it to them, they know their beer. And so it's not what a lot of people expect. They look at the bottle and they think it's going to be dark, it's going to be too malty, it's going to be maybe stouty even. It's got a bonkers pink elephant on it. But that's a hint to don't drink too much of it, because quite frankly, you'll be seeing pink elephants at 8.5%. But it's really crisp, it's really clear. They get that extra strength by dropping sugar in later in the fermentation process, so they don't get it from the grain bill of the brew. So they don't put loads and loads of grain in there and add loads and loads of flavour. So it's quite light, it's quite unflavoursome. It's like a lager in a lot of ways rather than an ale. But it's fantastic. So there you go. We've gone abroad, we've gone to Belgium, we've seen some more pond dug. Thanks again for watching. I hope to catch you next week and another beer. Thanks now. Take care. Goodbye.